We can apply functions to tensors and get another tensor as result. So let us see some of the functions. So we will look at some of the mathematical functions like max, min, mean, sine, cos, and another function which is used when we want to plot a mathematical function. So for example, max and min will give you the maximum and minimum in a torch tensor. So let's say we have a torch tensor which has elements, let's say -1, 2, 5, -6, 15, and this tensor is t. So if you do max of this t, then the maximum value here is 15. Similarly, min will return minimum value, that is -6, and mean will return the average of all of these. So it will be -1 plus 2 plus 5 -6 plus 15 divided by number of elements, that is 5. So this is 1, 6, 0, 15 by 5, that is 3. Then sine and cos are trigonometric functions, and we know that a sinusoidal function behaves like this, and it repeats after intervals of 2 pi radians. So this value is 0, this value is pi, this is pi by 2, or in degree you can call it 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and so on. Similarly, the cos function, at 0 it's 1, at pi by 2 it's 0, and at pi it's -1, like this. So the red one is cos and the yellow one is sine. So you can give a few values, like the list may contain 0, pi by 2, pi, 3 pi by 2, and 2 pi. So if you apply, this is a tensor, let's call it a torch.tensor, and if you apply sine on it, you will get for 0, let's say b is sine of a, torch.sin. So you will get 0, 1, 0, -1, and 0. Similarly, if c is cos of this, you will get 1, 0, -1, 0, and 1. And we can use this Lin space to generate a number of values within a given interval. So the way Lin space works is that you provide 2 parameters, start, end, and number of values to generate. Let's say 5. Then the first value will be start, last value will be end, and total number of values will be 5. So it will fill with 3 more values. So let's say v2, v3, and v4, and the difference between all the intervals will be exactly same. So all the intervals, all our values are separated by same difference. So let's see all of these functions in action. So we will open our Colab notebook. So first we need to import torch. And next, let's create a tensor t -1, 2, 3, -6, and 15. And let's print so the min value is -6. Similarly, we can print max, and mean. So there is a runtime error. It should be either float or, so let's make it float. Now it's working. So this mean works on float or complex type. So you can see the mean is 2.6. Next, let's try sine and cos. So we will define a tensor, and we will need numpy for this. So let's import it. Zero np.py. So np.py returns the value of pi, that is approximately 3.14. Then pi by 2, then pi, then 3 pi by 2, and finally 2 pi. So now this B and C contains the sine and cos values for each of these angles. So we can print B. We can also print C, or rather let's print in terms of integer. Otherwise you see these are very small values, but it's not printing 0. So we will print in int. So for sine at 0 and 2 pi and pi, these values are 0, and for cos those are 1, -1 and 1. So let's plot these, and we will then we can see how this plot looks. So first of all we will need to know about Lin space. So Lin space is a function which takes two intervals, torch.linspace. So let's say the first value is -1, last value is 1, and we want a few values between -1 and 1. Let's say we want just two values. In this case it's very simple. The first value is -1, last value is 1. Its length is 2. If we make it 3, we will get 3 values, and the interval, the values will be spaced equally. So here it's -1, 0, 1, difference is 1. If we have 4, what will happen? 4 values, and the difference would be 0.66. Now the difference would be 0.5. So I hope you understand Lin space. Now let's use Lin space and matplotlib's pyplot library, and we will use its plot function to plot the values. So this plot function needs two parameters, the values or intervals on the x-axis and corresponding values on the y-axis. So it needs two values. Let's calculate those, or we already have these. So we have the sine and cos. So let's plot A, B, and see what happens. So we need to import matplotlib. So I So this 0 means 0, and this is pi by 2, that is roughly 1.57. So it comes here between 1 and 2, this 1, and then next 0 will be at pi, that is 3.14, so just over 3. Let's also plot A and C. So this blue one is for sine, and this orange one is for cos. So this does not look very clean. Let's take some dummy examples using Lin Space. From 0 to np dot pi, or rather 2 pi, to make one complete cycle. And let's have 10 values. Let's make it 50. So it takes 50 values between 0 and 2 pi, and then calculates the sine and cos. So this blue curve is for sine, and yellow is for cos. So I hope you understood how we can apply functions on tensors and get another tensors, and how we can use Lin Space to generate equally spaced intervals. And we can use the plot function from matplotlib's PLT, matplotlib's pyplot, to plot mathematical functions. So from the next lesson we will start studying about 2D tensors, and we will continue.